Good morning and welcome from Glenwood Lutheran Church on this cold morning in May. We've had the high 30s after last week having highs in the high 80s and stuff. Well, the lows have been in the low 30s here. So we had some real strange weather. That's why it's called May. It may change in any second. This week in our reading from Acts, we hear about Paul, Silas, and Timothy in a place called Philippi. Last week we heard about Paul active in a place called Caesarea Philippi, which is north of the Sea of Galilee, and it's a completely different place from Philippi. The place where we hear about when we hear about the letter to Philippians. Let me tell you a little bit about this place as we get ready to hear about the story. Philippi was established in 360 and 359 and about that area as a colony by the Greeks. And then in 356, it was named by Philip II of Macedonia after himself. You know, when you're the king, you have that prerogative. It was named Philippi then, and the reason why it quickly became so important a city is there were gold mines nearby, and it lay on the coast of Greece there, where there was a major travel road. It was a means of travel, and it was a trade route. And so between the mountains and the sea there was a narrow area that could be controlled. And with the control of a trade route came also taxes as well. In 168, the Romans conquered Philippi. And the Greek influence became less and less. And then the Roman influence and Roman architecture and such began to prevail there. We don't really hear much about it as the Romans have taken over and started making changes until about 42 BC with what's called the Battle of Philippi. And it's a decisive battle as a part of an internal civil war within the Roman Empire. And then about 30 BC then, the Romans start sending soldiers to populate it. When they've retired, they sort of recolonize it, and so now it becomes even more Roman. The people who live there are Roman soldiers. They bring their Roman gods, their Roman ways of life, the Roman society, all these sorts of things. And with that Roman architecture, then and even now there are the remains of a Roman forum, a Roman theater, Roman temples, and streets are laid out in a grid and such. It's currently a UNESCO World Heritage Site because it's one of the best preserved examples of Roman architecture in the world. By the time that we bump into it in our Bible reading in Acts, Paul has made a visit to this very Greek, very Roman city. And around 49 or 50 AD now, in the Christian era, he comes there, and it's here that we hear about the conversion of a woman named Lydia, whom we'll hear about in our reading from the book of Acts this coming Sunday. Paul also then revisits the group of believers there in 56 and in 57. And then we hear later, the next time we hear about it is in this epistle to the Philippians, the letter to the Philippians, which we think is written around 61 or 62 in the Christian era as well. Now later on, with the rise of Christianity and as it becomes declared by Constantine as the religion of the realm, the Christian influence becomes that much more apparent there. There are Christian basilicas and churches, and it becomes the seat of a bishopric, etc. It's a Christian center for the longest time until it's officially rather abandoned by about the 12th century. And now there are ruins there, but there's no city. There's only a small village some ways away. Well, as we join together then hear a little bit more, I would urge you to go to the website that you'll see in Wikipedia for Philippi. There's some really good pictures there of some of the architectural ruins, and certainly much more to read than I've been able to bring you. God bless you. Look forward to seeing you this weekend. Remember, only one service on Memorial Day weekend at 10:30.